Hello and welcome to Tech London 2023. My name is Alon Sinai and I'm delighted to be joined now by Michal Freeman Shor. Michal is the head of primary markets Israel at the London Stock Exchange. Michal, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Alon. I'm really glad to be here.
Perhaps you could start us off with a short introduction regarding your role at the London Stock Exchange.
Okay, so in a very short nutshell, I'm in Israel, so I'm based in Israel, and I help companies to IPO in London.
Okay, and then perhaps you could give us some recommendations. Why do you think Israeli companies should IPO in London? What does London present to these Israeli startups?
Well, first of all, there is a growing interest in London for Israeli businesses. The startup nation obviously established itself as a fantastic innovator, place for great businesses. And, English investors know that. They get it. They understand that this is the place to be and this is the place to invest. In fact, if we look at Israeli companies who listed on the London Stock Exchange in the last 5 years, 80% of them traded up 12 months in. So if, for example, you would have invested in Energean PLC, a fantastic company who listed in 2018, a year later, you would have doubled your money. And if you would have stayed 5 years on today, the share continues to grow. It's a fantastic example.
And there's obviously many of those examples, as you said.
Yeah.
Do you think the current market conditions actually make London even more attractive to Israeli companies?
London has always been an attractive venue for Israeli companies. Not many know about it because they look at other places across the pond. But London has always been a really good place for Israeli companies. London is the most international exchange. There are more international companies in London than any other place, than any other exchange, including the US. We have many companies who are thriving. 60% of all institutional investments in Israeli companies are actually British, but the others are international. So we have international money, we have British money, and people want to invest in Israeli tech. They are very excited about it.
Yeah, perhaps maybe finally you could touch on that regarding this British interest in Israeli technology. I mean, what are we seeing right now? Is it specific maybe sectors which the British investors interested in?
Well, there are certain sectors that obviously Britain is king, London Stock Exchange is king. So one of them is obviously fintech. We have great fintech companies. Look at Plus 500, for example, a great fintech company who listed in 2013, exactly 10 years ago. And when it listed, and this is a really good example of the fantastic way that London Stock Exchange can support a company's growth. So Plus 500 listed in 2013, their market cap was on day one was 200 million. They raised 75 million at IPO. 5 years later, they became too big. They went to the premium market. Today, they are both on FTSE 250. They are now at a market cap, 10 years later, market cap of 2 billion.
Oh,
That's quite impressive.
yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, finally looking forward, I mean, how do you see this relationship evolving between Israeli startups and companies? Do you really see lots of growth in the future?
Well, absolutely. So obviously we talked about fintech because fintech is, London is a financial center. Everyone knows that. But we also have all the other sectors that London investors are very knowledgeable at, like health tech, like medical devices, like agrotech. There are lots of other sectors, obviously property. London is a great place for property companies. There are property investors. And in my view, this is something that I'm going to explore further, make London Stock Exchange more accessible for Israeli companies. And also, the London Stock Exchange is evolving. We have solutions for private companies, we have solutions for public companies, and by the end of the year, God willing, we will have a crossover market through the London Stock Exchange as well. So fingers crossed, we are going at all directions.
Yeah, exciting times.
Very
A lot
exciting
to look
time.
forward to. Michal, thank you so
Yes.
much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.